that I've ever really given that will be a little bit like sort of what we talk about some of the students in the Verb on Wednesday night. But this is one of the only ones that I don't really have prepared. I don't have my phone in front of me. I'm going to have it in a second to switch stuff, but I don't have any notes. I don't have anything I'm really going to say besides a little story and just to tell you a little bit about me. So if you will, close your eyes for me. I want to paint a picture for you and share a story with you. And Verb people, if you've heard this before, keep your eyes closed, don't fall asleep, and picture it again. So I want to tell you a story about you and your friend Larry. You and your friend Larry are going to go to RDU, International Airport, to help pick up your Uncle Bill and your Aunt Karen, who are on their way back into town from Sarasota on their vacation. You and Larry get into RDU International Airport and you spend 6.5 hours walking through all the lines and riding the little flat escalator thing, whatever it's called, treadmill that gets you somewhere faster than you wanted to get. And you're walking through the airport and you stop and get some Popeyes because you don't have a Popeyes in Kinston and you really want some and you love it. And so you get your Popeyes biscuit and you put honey on it and a little bit of butter too, because that's how you like your Popeyes biscuits. When you're done, you go by the baggage claim and you wait for your Uncle Bill and your Aunt Karen to come out to see them. But while you are sitting there at the baggage claim, you see a young woman come out of the baggage claim area, and she's waiting, and she gets her luggage, and she looks around just a little bit, and suddenly a young man comes up, and he sees her, and their eyes light up, and he runs toward the young woman to embrace her, and they hug as if they haven't seen each other for a while. It's a little bit sweet, but it doesn't mean much because that's what always happens at airports. Your family is there to greet you. If you go on a mission trip to Grenada, your mom is there crying, glad that you were home safe, and she can make you some Southern Baptist green bean casserole when you get home. And so it doesn't mean much to you. It seems normal. It seems like what always happens. Why? Because you don't know their story. Because you don't have the right perception on what is happening in front of you. So now let's add a story to it, and let's see how it changes things a little bit. Now, let's say that the young man and the young woman are actually brother and sister, and they're in their 30s, and they moved away from home a while back. It's actually been 7.5 years since they even spoke to each other. The sister has been in Maui working at a hospital. She's a registered nurse, and the brother went all the way to Sacramento. He's been a lawyer, and they have just discovered that their dad has terminal brain cancer. So they've met back up here in North Carolina to go to Fayetteville, where they are from, to see their dad in the hospital and say goodbye to him one last time. This moment for them, meeting and embracing after so many years, carries so much meaning and emotion and tears and emotion and what they're doing, and that changes everything. Or maybe, let's say that the young man and the young woman are in their 20s, in their late 20s, and maybe they were best friends all through high school. They grew up knowing each other, and they dated other people off and on, but never each other. They kept dating other people, and they ended up going to the same college, to ECU together. While they were at ECU, they still dated other people, and the young man ended up getting engaged to another girl, and then the girl ended up, she was dating this guy, and they were dating off and on, and it was pretty good. And then one day they discovered throughout the course of a few years there in their studies at ECU that the young man, when he was engaged to the girl, that she actually was caught cheating on him with his roommate that he stayed in his dorm the first year at ECU. And so they broke up, and they're not together anymore. And then the young lady, the guy that she was dating, he was two-timing her too, and he was going around on her, and she found out, so they ended up breaking up. And when they left ECU, they ended up moving to opposite sides of the country. While there, out of nowhere, for no reason at all other than one of them just decided to, and they felt like doing it, they began to write each other letters. That's right, real, physical letters. They still exist if the post office is still around. Few years. They're still there, and they begin to write each other real physical letters back and forth, and they write every day, and through that they begin to develop a relationship and a bond that they did not have before. They connect with each other in a new way, in a different way, and they begin to fall in love. They decide that at the end of 1 year of writing each other these letters, they're on opposite sides of the country, that at the end of 1 year, if they are still writing letters to each other, and they are still into it, and they still love it, and it hasn't died down, the passion isn't gone, then they will meet up back in their home state at RDU International Airport. So, this is that meeting. And now you, aware of this and seeing this for the very first time unfold in front of your eyes, you, the person now who sees the story in front of you, it becomes completely different. She gets off the plane and runs to embrace him who got there earlier and has been waiting for her at the baggage claim. And she's running to him to embrace him, tears in her eyes. And you know something she does not, that he has a diamond ring in his back left pocket waiting to propose. Your eyes tear up and they fall down just a little bit because you can't help but feel the electricity coming off of the two of them and the love that they have for one another and the excitement that you have for them. Let's switch it up one last time. Maybe it's a husband and a wife, and they're in their late 40s, they're in their early 50s, they got married when they were a little bit younger, maybe in their early 20s, and the wife was an artist. She began out painting and making pottery, and that was her passion in life. And then they had kids, and they didn't expect to, but she had grad school, and then she had kids, and you all know what happens when that happens. Everything changes forever, and your life changes. And then the husband had grad school too, and then they had another kid, and then suddenly their kids grew up a little bit, and then they needed braces, and they wanted a trampoline for Christmas, and they just they ran out of money, and suddenly the wife, laying in bed one night, she's 44 years old now, wakes up at 1:30 in the morning with the nagging feeling that she just has not been true to herself, that she just has not been able to pursue her passions. And she's been loyal to her family and loves them, but she feels like she just hasn't been able to follow her dreams and her calling. So she wakes up her loving husband and makes him aware of all of this now, and she tells him what she wants to do. She tells him that she just wants to pursue art again, and she wants to feel like she has purpose again beyond just her purpose in being a mother, and he says, okay, let's do it. And so now the husband, being the good husband that he is, takes up a second job at his local sporting goods store at night, selling golf clubs to people in the golf club section so that she can cut back on her hours at work and they can turn their basement into an art studio. This goes on for 3.5 years. And what you are watching now unfold in the airport is her coming back from her very first art gallery in New York City. She got signed to make more paintings, and she just sold 3 for the first time. It has been hard, and you are tired, and you feel like you need sleep right now, and you might drop to the floor because you have been working so hard, the husband has. But they embrace, and suddenly it is all worth it because they did it together. They sacrificed together. They made it happen together. Now, keep your eyes closed. If you already got them open, you can keep them open, either way. Now, your friend Larry, don't forget about Larry, the entire time that you are watching all of this unfold right in front of your eyes, Larry is in the bathroom. Larry ate too many honey butter biscuits and some coffee too, and he's nervous about flying. And he should know not to drink coffee when he's nervous about flying. He knows better than that, but it's good old Larry, so he does it anyway. And so he went to the bathroom, and he's gone the whole time that you are observing all this. Larry does not see anything. Larry comes back. He comes up to you, and you are still staring at this couple in anticipation with tears in your eyes. And Larry starts telling you about the bathroom. He's like, man, I wish that bathroom wasn't so crowded, but it was just so clean. I have never in my life, Dylan, Michael, Monty, whoever is with Larry, he says, I've never in my life seen this awesome hand dryer. I've never seen a hand dryer like this before. I thought it had paper towels, but they didn't. It said Dyson on it, and it was this cool little, looked like a portal that you stick your hand into, and it sucks the water off of your fingers because it's really neat, and airports have cool things like that. And he says, I just don't understand why they need that anyway. If they wanted to save so much electricity, then why don't they just have nothing? Why don't they just get more paper towels? I don't understand why they want to do that. It never really dries off my hand completely anyway. I end up having to wipe it all over my pants. And you, listening to your friend Larry come out and tell you all of these things while you're trying to watch what's in front of you unfold, you stick your hand out and say, shh, be quiet for a second. I'm watching something happen. Larry looks at you and he says, that's a little weird. That's a little creepy. You promised you wouldn't do that anymore. Remember that one girl that you Facebook stalked? You said you're not going to do that anymore. Dylan, stop watching them. You don't know them. Stop it. The same thing happened in front of both people. The difference is perception. The difference is what you see. And what you see changes everything. Your friend, Larry, could not see what you saw, and so he could not feel what you felt. And that changed everything for him. So then what do? What do? Do you explain to Larry and begin to tell him the story about how you know it's two people and he's got a ring in his pocket and why you're tearing up? Or what do you say? This is the task and the problem and the privilege of being a follower of Jesus Christ today in 2018. It is the most beautiful thing in the world when you can peer in on something and see the truth behind it and see it for what it is and all its raw emotion and power and love and mystery. And it's also hard because Larry can't see it. Larry doesn't get it. Larry doesn't know. Your friends may not get it. They may not know. Your family may not get it. They may not know why you come sit in a pew. Because you see Jesus for what he is and what he has done in your life. They might just see a purple pew. That's the color no one decorates their house anymore. And they don't know why you want to come sit on it every Sunday, why you feel like you have to. They don't get it. They can't see what you see. And what you see changes everything. With the Bible, you can open your eyes now. With the Bible, we've been, if you're not asleep, we have been talking in the Verb and our young adults and our middle school students and our high school students all about perception and about the Bible and about what it means and about how whenever things sometimes seem confusing, whenever the Bible sometimes seems contradicting, whenever something pops out to you that you haven't seen before, and in your life, whenever something just doesn't seem quite right, it's usually because there's something more going on. So now I'm going to tell you a story about my own life that I've never told anyone except for the Verb and was in it. And here's what I want to do. I want to tell you about the first Wednesday that I ever started here.